Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Wade into Wealth. I'm Chuck Wade. Ethan, my brother, is here. If you're watching on YouTube, you might notice we have a guest with us this week. This is something we're trying to focus more and more on, is bringing people in from the Rochester and Western New York community that are doing positive things. And we thought, where do we start? And then Karen and Gerard Iglesia came to mind, founders and operators of Primetime 585. If you're in high school or you have a child in high school in Section 5 in the Rochester area, you know who we're talking about. You guys have your own media empire here covering athletes and sports, but this was initially supposed to be a 4-person interview. Your husband Gerard was here. You sent me a message this morning, said, Gerard can't make it. Can I come early? And I thought, okay, fine. And then I see you out in the lobby, and you said,
Gerard is getting a kidney today after 19 years. And you're like, what?
And I'm like, and you're here? Why are you here?
Well, first and foremost, like, I'm a big-time multitasker, obviously, right? Obviously. Yeah. But you know what? The hospital said for me to wait in the car for about 2 hours for him to finish his test. So I said, listen, if I'm going to wait in the car for 2 hours, I could do a podcast for 45 minutes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I'm multitasking. It's a happy day for me. So this is like, you're getting me on one of the best days of my life, honestly. Although when my kids were born, this might be the best day of my life. We waited 19 years for this day.
And what have you had to do in those 19 years?
You know what? It's kidney disease, especially when it's called end stage renal failure, which means that you're pretty much considered the end of your life.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things that people don't know. Diet is extremely important. You got to really monitor, you have to cut out milk. You got to cut out bananas. You got to cut out anything high in potassium, chocolates.
Yep.
So the thing is, people don't understand, it takes a lot of discipline. The thing about Gerard, he's willing, right? Okay. He had 2 kids to live for. Yeah. So he did all the sacrifices. You have to have a cooked meal pretty much every day. So your diet is huge, and your exercise. Yep. And then 6 years ago, he started dialysis. And dialysis is treacherous. You're talking about dialysis is 3 times a week. He goes about 6 o'clock in the morning. I drop him off. He can't drive afterwards, so I got to drop him off. He's there hooked up for about, they take all the blood out of your body. They clean the blood because his kidneys can't do that. Yeah. And they put it back in. So, and then he gets out about 11:30.
That is crazy.
Right. And then he sleeps for about 4 hours because it takes a lot out of him.
Yeah, sure.
And then every night we go cover games. And he's been doing this even needing a kidney. So, but it gives him something to do.
Yeah.
And stuff. So we've been doing this and covering sports and tweeting and everything else. But this is definitely a blessing.
So how'd you find out about it? He's got a kidney today.
Well, the thing is, I never turned my phone off. Oh my goodness. In 20-something years of having a cell phone, I've never turned my phone off. The one night I turned my phone off because I just needed a couple hours break. Yeah. The hospital called. And they call and call and call. So I turned my phone on. And I see, voicemail. I'm like, well, I turned my phone off at 2 o'clock in the morning. I turned it back on at 6:20. So who's calling me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
It's never good when the phone starts ringing before the sun comes up.
Right. So I checked the voicemail, and it says, this is strong. We have a kidney. We need you immediately. So I'm like, what? So I'm like, wow. It's a surreal moment.
Yeah, right. Well, you've been waiting 19 years for that
and then
call.
The one time, nobody's going to believe that story. Like the one time. So I saved the message because we're going to keep that message. But yeah, and then you have to go immediately. We have a bag pack. You just throw all his medication in, and you just shoot to the hospital. Yeah. Because it takes about 4 or 5 hours of prepping. Yeah. And it's a long surgery. It's a 4.5-hour surgery. So he'll go into surgery around 2, get out about 6:30, but it's major surgery. Yep. So and it was from a young lady that was 22, so it's a young kidney. Mm-hmm. That's also helpful.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, and people don't understand with kidney transplant, it's better to get it from somebody of your same color. Okay. Because tissue match, it's tissue, it's blood type, so on and so forth. So we consider this is one of my best days, and I'm on way to wealth. Yeah. So what could be better? Yeah.
So was he awake when you saw this, or you heard the voicemail?
No.
I'm curious what his response was.
I'm like, I'm jerking him. Get up. He said, what? I said, you got a kidney. He said, don't play with me. I said, you got a kidney. Yeah. And then I played the message. I called Strong back right away. They were waiting for the call because they kept calling and calling because it's my number on his chart. And next thing you know, here we are. He's getting a kidney this afternoon.
Did you tell your kids?
We could go into surgery. You know,
Right.
you kind of have to let them know because
Right.
it's a major
Sure.
surgery.
Yeah.
Our son Anthony graduated from McQuaid.
Mm-hmm.
He's in University of Washington. He plays basketball there.
Yep.
So yeah, we you want to call him, but it's a 3-hour difference,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
So he sees the phone ringing
All right.
Yep.
at
Right.
4 a.m.
Yep.
from
Yep.
his parents because
Yep.
he's really
And it-
I
yep.
mean,
We've already established that nothing good calls before 5.
So he didn't answer either, and then on the way to the hospital, he called and says, "Is everything okay?"
Yeah, sure.
And he was just like, "Let's go." And then we call all the people that's close. He's very close to Isaiah Stewart.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he called. He talked to him right away. And then
Plays
we have
for
a
the
core
Detroit Pistons, right?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
like one of our kids too.
Yep.
Yep.
So we just tell the core people that we're on our way because
Yeah.
we didn't want to announce it on social media because once we announce it, which we're going to announce after this,
Yep.
then it
Yeah.
goes, the phones go crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But Section 5 got some amazing athletes, amazing parents. I've met every single day is a different day for us because you're meeting different people. You're meeting
Yep.
different kids, different athletes, different coaches, and parents. So nothing is ever the same, and every one of our interactions have been positive with these parents. Like no matter how far out we go, we went out to York Pavilion.
Yeah. York. Oh yeah.
The York.
Our
the
mom
York
went
Knights.
To Pavilion.
Our mom was a
Pavilion
gopher.
Gophers. Yeah.
Oh,
Was that a
really?
gopher? Are they
Yeah.
golden gophers or purple? I don't know. They're gopher.
They're
I
purple,
think
right?
they're
Purple,
gopher.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
purple.
So we
Thank
pull
you.
up in Pavilion, and
and you're probably like, where are we?
right because it's York Pavilion,
Yeah,
and
they're very-
soccer
yeah,
and football, and
yeah.
everything.
Yep.
So, but it's an hour away for us. But you know what? We said the kids were texting us and said,
Yeah.
"You haven't covered us."
Right.
Yep.
So I said, "Well, when is the next game? York Pavilion? Let's get in the car and go." And that's how we work. That's how we work, right? And we showed up, and there's a bunch of grandparents there.
Sure.
You could tell
Yeah.
they had no idea who we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
had no idea. It's York Pavilion, right? The kids knew.
Yep.
And the parents knew, but the grandparents were like, so we're going through you have to go through to go inside of
Yep.
the gate. You can't go in there. This older white lady says, "You can't go in there. What are you doing?" So I said, "We're covering sports." What channel are you with?
Yeah.
So we get that when we get out there, but you meet that. Then afterwards, she's talking to me, and I'm showing her some of the videos. And I said, "We're going to feature your grandson."
Yep.
And she said, "Well, what channel?" So sometimes you have to get
Yep.
the older
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's not on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
Exactly what we are.
So how?
Well, first of all, we got to
Yeah.
back up. Let's talk about what Primetime 585 is.
Okay.
If someone's not familiar, but what is Primetime 585? Let's just start with that.
Well, Primetime 585, we use sports as a bridge between communities. So I'm a sports mom and I'm a sports wife, right? So my husband coached for 35 years. He was a Section 5 coach at School of the Arts. He coached at East High School. We had our own AAU team. And as a mom, my son Anthony was MVP of sectionals. He's one of the shortest players right now in the NCAA at 5'6".
And he's playing Division 1.
Division 1 in the
Yep.
Pac-12.
Yep.
In the Pac-12. So I'm a sports mom and wife. So it just, it started with us just after Anthony left. Our other son, Alan, he's autistic. He's not really a sports person. Very computer though. He could do
Yep.
all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And we had a void, right? Like I was doing games when Anthony was a senior on Facebook. And I was so passionate doing the games that after Anthony graduated, the kids would say, Miss Iglesia, you're not gonna do any more games. We want you to stream our games on Facebook. I'm like, I don't have a kid. Why would I do that? That sounds silly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At the moment, that sounded silly. And they said, but we like when you do it, and because of the commentary.
Sure.
And I know basketball really, really well, so that's pretty much how it started. And then right before COVID, we just took a camera out. We were on our way. I still remember on the way to a Syracuse game. I took a camera out. George is driving, and I just recorded a 1-minute spot saying upcoming games. This is what to look for, and I just put it on social media.
Yep.
It went crazy with the kids, and like, oh, this is different. Then we just started recording little by little. But we said, okay, the platform became popular. But but we've always given back. For 28 years, we've always had somebody that lived with us. We've always taken in, especially young males of color that became homeless or athletes. So people don't know, for 28 years, we've always had someone that's lived in our home that we've taken in. We've always given back. So I said, well, what if we use the popularity of what we're doing to bridge communities? So we wanted, a big thing for us is the diversity that sports offer. Because when you have a ball, it doesn't matter your color. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Sports is like art. It doesn't matter. So once you could play, you could play. It's the great equalizer.
Yeah.
So I said, well, what if we use this as a bridge to educate people? So kids in the suburbs and the kids in the city, they have one place as a platform to share what they do. It's the same sport. This kid at Pittsford and this kid at East High School, both are playing football. Both are playing basketball. Same rules, same everything.
Yep.
But there's such a divide. There's a divide in culture and class. So if we could merge these two together, and you know what? We can't start with adults to do stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That, you know, when you talk about race, poverty, policing, mental health, when you're talking all of those things, we wanted to target kids because they're the one that could change stuff.
Yep.
Adults can't.
Yep.
We just can't. And it just became so popular with the kids because the first thing we didn't do is we weren't going to censor you. So we don't censor kids. They could talk about anything. So the platform grew on the fact that we're just the medium. It belongs to you.
Right.
We're just the medium in between. Whatever you guys want us to cover. So the kids wanted to give back. The kids wanted to talk mental health. When we did the Matt Traybolt week, the kids literally hijacked that week and took it upon themselves. So the kids liked the fact, and it didn't matter the color of the kid. It didn't matter the race. It didn't matter that some were rich or poor. They have primetime in common. So we just use primetime as a bridge to talk tough topics. Like people want to talk about mental health.
Yeah.
You know, people, it's uncomfortable.
What's Matt Traybolt week?
Matt Traybolt week. So Matt Traybolt is
Matt was a mutual friend of ours.
So you, when you and I spoke
Channel
about
13,
that, that's how I met you actually, was when you reached out to me. He worked at Channel 13. Before primetime, he was the most recognized person in sports. Wouldn't you say that, Chuck?
Oh, Matt was a savant of local sports and college basketball.
Oh,
like you could be like, Matt, what's the 114th ranked team? Like, who's the center on the 114th ranked team in the country? And
he'll
be like,
tell you.
This is so and so, and this is where they're from, and this is their, he would Joe, and he just. And he always wore shorts.
Always. So
always wore shorts.
I've never seen him in pants, never seen him in a suit, no matter what the degree, whether it's outside. But he did what kind of like what we did, right? He wanted to target kids that would not normally get targeted.
He did, yes.
So that was his uniqueness. Like, so everybody always put the star on.
Yeah.
He would find clips for the kids, but what people didn't know in the background, he would make little clips for kids and little highlight videos and send it to them. So if he's at a game and he's covering a game, he'll make like 4 or 5 little videos of the different kids.
Yeah.
And he'll send it to them in Twitter.
And not just the star athlete.
No,
and not just football and basketball either,
yeah.
which is when you're in TV. I've worked there for years. You cover football and basketball.
right.
That's the prime sports that would be on TV.
Right.
He would be doing soccer and volleyball. And I remember, my friends at Channel 13 would say, we just let Matt make his schedule. Matt tells us where he needs to go, what needs to be covered, what needs to be done, and he does it.
And that's the uniqueness of him, right? And actually, Matt was prevalent in the primetime success. Because when we first started, we only had like 720 followers. Matt would use his platform, he had thousands, to share all our stuff.
Yep.
And then he would just give us story ideas. So people didn't know that he used to send me story ideas. He wrote a lot of our shows. So we had this Sunday show we had a show that talked about siblings playing together on a team. It was his idea.
Yep.
Coaches and kids, like he would have one, coaches that are coaching their kids, and he would send us that idea. So a lot of people didn't know that he was a major part of our success.
Instrumental.
Yeah, because he made us look at sports totally different. And to this day, Julie and I, his mom, are very close friends.
Yep.
We met under sad circumstances. So I made a pact that when we're gonna use our platform to continue how he covered sports, right? Which is not just the basketball and the football, not just the stars, right? To do something different. But we're also going to concentrate on some mental health things because obviously he was hurting inside. We didn't know. Matt and I was texting the day before.
Yep.
So he was the closest person to me that ever happened. It really bothered me. I was angry.
Yep.
I sent him a text, although he wasn't around, cursed him out. But those are just normal things, right? Because I'm thinking that you could have talked to me. I think I'm pretty open. Then you go through a myriad of emotions. So I made a week called Primetime 585 Matt Traybolt Week. And that week, everybody wears shorts.
Everyone wears shorts.
They wear shorts and they take a picture and you have to put nothing, just put, it's okay to not be okay and tag me. We had 8 judges that did that. We had 8 judges. We had the district attorney did it.
It wasn't just high school kids.
Nope.
It was people in the community, leaders in the community, all the coaches in sports. I mean, it was a big thing.
Yeah, the head of a variety of law enforcement agencies. Nothing's, just take a picture, post it, tag it's okay to be okay. We wanted to send a message to kids. We as adults got you. Everybody from all different walks of life. So different businesses, people were at Wegmans, they were in shorts, and we did it, it's always the first week of February. We wanted the coldest.
Well, it has to be cold, yeah.
Yeah, because if you do it in May, it doesn't mean anything, right?
Right.
Nobody asks questions, right? And it's a 1 week thing, and the coaches were coaching on the sidelines with it on. So we made it so that kids were sending a message. And we have to talk about these things. We have to talk about it. People are afraid to talk about it. And we're telling kids that there's no shame in, especially with males, right? Because you're told, especially if you're an athlete, you got to be tough and strong. Especially if you play football, right? You got to be tough and strong. And so the message we send on our platform is that it's okay to not be okay. We have bracelets that we hand out at games.
Yep.
So that's how passionate I am. And Matt is the one that actually led the way. You know, I feel his spirit. I look at him. I will always keep his logo on all our, when we do our basketball camp, we have a free camp. He covered it all 7 years. Even when he wasn't working that day, I remember 2 years before he passed away, he was off that week. He was off that day of camp. He still came and brought his cell phone and was doing videos for the kids and posting it. So our camp, we put his logo, we put some shorts.
It's a free camp. It's a free camp. No kids pay to attend it.
0.
Right.
None of the things that we do. Okay, let's first say that. Nothing that we do is ever paid. So every service that we offer is for kids, right? We believe in community. So what we ask people is this. So for example, we'll talk about the camp. The camp we have top of the line people that come. The coaching, we basically bring people together. So if we started charging, then this kid in Pittsford would be able to afford to come to this camp.
Becomes a much different camp.
There you go. So we wanted a diverse camp based on ability, not by your income.
Right.
So, but we couldn't charge the kids in the suburbs, right? And not charge the kids in the city.
Yep.
And we wanted to be, so we asked people to sponsor a kid. And if you have community, buy a jersey for a kid. It's $12 for one jersey. So we'll have people say, put me down for 5 jerseys. Put me down for 10 jerseys. Okay, who's paying? Somebody say, like Marty's Meats. I'll do food for a day. I'll do lunch for you guys. Yep. So we use community because once you start charging, it changes everything.
Yeah.
So we can't do that. So we don't believe in charging. Our biggest event is our Thanksgiving drive.
Yep.
Now we could easily just donate turkeys. Here are some turkeys. We could easily do that. Yep. That's not the point of what we do. The point of how we do our Thanksgiving is getting communities together. The first thing is we want teams, especially, to adopt one family. And it's not just city. We have families from Wayne County, Ontario County, Livingston County, Genesee County, and Monroe County. So the myth is, well, you just want to feed black and brown folks. No. About 30 to 40% of our people that signed up since COVID, food insecurities are rural too.
Yeah. Poverty is not just something that is in the cities.
People don't understand
it's all over
that,
the
Chuck.
place. No, I mean, we grew up in Genesee County. I mean, you see it in a lot of places. It's not something that's native
there's a lot of trailer
to inner
parks.
cities.
There's
Absolutely.
a lot of, and people don't understand that. So we had a myriad now of people signing up, which is actually not as much. Each year it becomes, more and more people. But we want a uniqueness. So we want, say the Wade brothers, they adopt 2 families. What we do is you do the shopping. You and your family do the shopping, or your secretaries or the organization does the shopping. We provide you, this is your 2 families. Here's their name. Here's their contact information. You give them a call. You set it up. You go shopping, and you deliver it. Now, why do we do that? Because we need for people to see there are good people out there doing good things. Mm-hmm. But we also need for the Wade brothers to see there are people out here that just need a little bit of help, right? So, and usually these 2 sets of people would never be together.
You've said it before. You're not asking for a handout. It's for a hand up.
It's for a hand up.
And what's the difference between that?
The difference, people, like a handout is like, people don't want to do anything with it.
Here it is.
Here it is, right.
Here it is.
A hand up is giving somebody a little bit of a nudge. Like a little bit of a nudge can change the life of a person, of a family. Just a little bit. So something that means little to you might mean a lot to somebody else. So we're just going to give them a little bit of a hand up just so they could get to the next. I'll give you a good example of this. I had one mother. She reached out to me. She had 5 kids under the age of 8. Her husband had just became incarcerated. It's not the fault of the kid. It's not the fault of the mom.
Yep.
It was a week before school goes back. She had no book bags. She had no uniforms. I put it out on social media. She just needed a hand up. Mm-hmm. She wasn't asking to take care of her kids for the whole year. Right. She was their husband is not working. He's incarcerated. And you know what? Who cares why? The kids had nothing to do with it. That's just how I look at it. And we had people immediately bought them uniforms, book bags, sneakers. Now the mom still texts me. Everything is going good. The kids are in school. Mm-hmm. So it cost the community probably about $250 for those 5 kids. The mom she doesn't want anything else. It was just a moment in time where she just needed a hand up.
Yeah.
And now everything is fine.
And what we don't know, and we may never know, and sometimes I think that's the beauty of these things, was one of those kids impacted? How does that translate 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road? Is it, I remember when somebody did this, and we don't know. Maybe nothing comes of it. But you know what? If the worst thing is they had sneakers and backpacks, and they're got bigger problems and they're at school. We're good.
And the purpose is also for us at Prime Time is to take away the deficiencies that plague certain communities. So transportation is one, food is one, right? So when we ask people we're the bridge. You don't have, if you can't deliver, you're like this. I'm on vacation this week, Karen. Mm-hmm. So we are like a superintendent of a school. She said, we want to do this. My husband and I we're out of town this week. I'm going to Venmo you. Here's a Venmo, or we get checks sent to us. Can you deliver it? What we do then is we actually get some athletes to actually do the shopping and the delivery. So what the uniqueness is, we'll use a team, even a city team. Some of those kids are the same kids that want to get adopted. Mm-hmm. But we'll use their team to do the shopping, the boxing up, and the delivery with their coaches, because it's important for kids to understand the importance of giving back and also receiving.
Why is Thanksgiving?
I believe that there's one day in every year that people need good food. And okay. Just like there's one day, I'm a big thing. I'm Jamaican, right? So breaking bread is big in my culture. Yep. Like, first of all, we don't break bread with the enemy. Like, we don't eat with people that we don't like. That's like a big thing, because food and breaking bread together is a process for culture. So food is a big thing for us. A lot happens around the table. Yeah. To the point right now where most Jamaicans eat together as a family still, and yet in the day where people are eating in front of a TV, we still set the table, we still sit together around the table, and we still have dinner together. So breaking bread is a big thing. And what we ask is, Chuck, don't go to the dollar store and get some dollar store rice and potatoes, because Chuck is not eating that. Yep. We ask that you would give somebody what you would eat just for this day so they could experience those things also. So that's what we do.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example. So this is a true story. So this person, a very wealthy person in Rochester, a wing at Strong is named after this person. So he saw my stuff on social media. He could have wrote me a check. Easy. He said, my wife and I want to do this. We like the concept of the adoption and the delivery. I was like, oh, okay, I feel you. I mean, this is a wealthy guy. So he went shopping. His families were delivering his to the city school district at the time because he had families, homeless kids and homeless families. So the district was going to deliver it. But so we, because of confidentiality, and he couldn't go to the home. So he took it directly to the city school district for his 3 families that he adopted. So I showed up there, I wanted to, and they actually did interview him on TV. I kid you not. I looked down at the turkey. The price on the turkey was $71. I said, what the hell? There's turkeys for $71? It was farm fed.
Yeah.
It flew in. I said, you could have just gone to Wegmans or Top, sweetie. Like, you ain't had to do all of that. He said, no. On your Twitter account, you said you want us to buy what we eat for this day. This is how I eat. So he went out and he must have spent $200 a family. It was very high level stuff, like organic, farm raised turkey and ham.
Yeah.
But he took it that serious. So his wife is sitting in their Mercedes, and I walked over to her and I said, I appreciate that. She said he's never been to the grocery store in 40 years. He did all this on his own. He's never, ever been to a grocery store. We have people that do this for us.
Yeah.
He wanted to do that. And that right there, he could have wrote me a check for $500.
But that's, I mean, the whole concept of what you're trying to do is to bridge communities.
It's very important.
It can't just be going through the motions, right? Because it's real easy to send someone else out to shop and just get whatever and not give them the direction. But sharing what someone else has with some folks who need that hand up, that's bridging.
When you have the district attorney, so Sandra Dorley did 7 deliveries last year herself. She could have sent anybody on her staff, any of her security people, any police officer. She baked pies herself. She wanted to do this. She's interacting with the community members, and I'll never forget this. So she did 7 deliveries. So first, and I gave her some tough areas too. I'm talking about off of Jefferson. I gave her some tough areas, right? Because I knew she was going to go with her security team. So after Sandra dropped off good stuff, one of the ladies inboxed me on Facebook. How did you get the white Republican district attorney to come to the hood? When I tell you, they were shocked, right? And I just said to her, I asked. That's all. I asked. I asked her if she wanted to. She could have wrote a check. But I prefer for people to do this. She went into the community that she oversees, that she's trying to keep safe. She interacted with parents, some of which she's put a couple of their kids away. 2 of the deliveries, she prosecuted their kids, 1 for a gun and 1 for drugs. But it didn't matter. She was a mom, they were moms, and they interacted and had a positive interaction. When you get the sheriff, when you get the major crimes unit of the RPD, Rochester's so crime infested right now. But when you get them to look at people in a different way, and for people to see them in a different way, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for us, is bridging. We are the bridge. Like, if you can't do the shopping, we'll get the money, and we actually get the kids to do it. And that's how we do it. Major thing for us is we want to use prime time as the bridge between communities, and it should not matter, because we are a sports platform. It shouldn't matter your color, your pocketbook, your where you live. None of that should matter in sports. And that's our goal. And you know what? What platform do you know that's followed by almost every judge in Rochester? It's followed by the district attorney, followed by the sheriff, followed by every chief of police that's around, and also followed by kids. What platform exists like that? Right? There's not. Because people tend to have people in their same area. But the primetime platform, that exists. So that way, that's the bridge. So I take it I take the responsibility of my followers, the responsibility of the primetime platform. I get 70 to 80 messages every day. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for helping. This helps our kids' mental health. They like the excitement when you show up. We get that every single day. And that's how important this platform is.
So there's a saying, one of my favorite sayings, and is if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Ooh.
And I just have
gonna
always
steal
thought
that.
it's not mine. I didn't make it up. I got it from somewhere else, but I've always thought that makes so much sense.
And boy, we're going fast.
And yeah, you can go fast, but if you want to go far, if you want to go for a long time, go with someone else.
And that's what we do, right? We and people rally around us. People will send us in clips. We've partnered with different organizations. We have a couple sponsors. We have a law firm that's one of our sponsors because they want to keep us on the air, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
They want to keep us, and they understand this stuff takes time, money to do what we're doing. We're doing a lot of this stuff out of our own pocket. So because we're a non-for-profit, what we do is we'll use that to do all the other stuff. So emergency care, emergency services. We just had a request on my way to the hospital. I actually had a request that was considered emergency, but I was able to help that person. It's only a $40 thing, but it was something that was necessary and needed for a couple of things. So we use the funds to do things like that.
So just out of curiosity, Section 5 is a big place. How many miles have you and Gerard put on your car this year?
In 13 months, we track it. In 13 months, we did 38,000 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, my poor baby.
You hope you own that car. It's not a lease, is it?
No.
Because you would be out of that lease.
Like in the first, I get my oil
first
change.
2 months.
I got an oil change 2 weeks ago, and I needed. I have about 300 miles left on that oil change.
Wow.
So that tells you. Because when you're going to
yeah.
Batavia, Notre Dame,
Yes,
Canandaigua, Batavia, York, Pavilion,
Yep.
all in a week.
Yeah.
That alone right there, you're coming back and forth. That alone is 600 miles.
Yeah.
But we grew up in Batavia,
Okay.
and we didn't have but at that time when we were playing sports, there was really no coverage unless you were on the major sports and you were playing for the sectional championship.
It was only at the War Memorial.
That's it.
If
Yeah,
the
that's
basketball
if you
woman
go-
went to
if
the
you-
War
if you go
Memorial,
there, right, you gotta
if you
get
made
there.
it to the
Yeah.
sectional finals, if you're a Class
Right.
D school, that's when you get on TV.
And that tells you
That
how
was
long
and
ago
it's
it was
20
that we call it the
seconds.
War Memorial.
And it was the biggest deal. I remember,
Yep.
going back to Batavia after you win a sectional title, and everyone's at like TF Browns, and you're waiting for our news. It was our news
Yep.
to come on, and it's 20 seconds,
And you're
but you
happy about
hear
that.
your friend's name,
Yeah.
and everyone's cheering. And I mean, to this day, you remember that. And now I think the medium has changed. There are still the local stations, but they can't dedicate the time or the free form platform where you're talking about a swimmer, right?
That's
Right.
I was scrolling through your videos. They go to swim
Swim
meets?
meet?
Listen, wait a
Awesome.
minute now. Wait a minute
Which is
now.
awesome.
Wade Brothers, swimming is lit. I'm not at first when I first started covering it.
I've never
and-
been to one.
Listen, them parents are crazy.
Yeah.
Like it is. At first, I was like, at first I thought it was gonna be boring.
Yeah.
I kid you not. Except for like the 500 because it's long.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, though. I love swimming. The parents are, let's go. The coaches are running back and forth. The kids are, it's electric.
Well, swimming in the Olympics is
It's
very exciting to watch.
And it's the same thing. So when I decided to do it, I didn't know what to get. I'm going to tell you the story about when I decided to cover lacrosse. Like, so you might have seen the episode. So we decided that we're going to cover everything now. But
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a kid from the city. I know basketball and football and baseball. I don't know anything about lacrosse. So we decided we're going to cover lacrosse. So I never forget. So Ava Pranti, who was considered one of the best lacrosse players out of Victor, she started sending me all this data. These are the good players. Thank you for doing this. So at this point, I realized. I went to pick my son up from Schrader, and I just saw a bunch of girls walking with their lacrosse sticks. Jumped out the car. I always got my equipment. See, I brought my bag with me, right? And I put the camera on. I said, "Can I interview you guys?" So I'm interviewing them. I said, "I haven't covered lacrosse yet. Oh, by the way, how many people play? How many people are on the field?"
Yeah.
And they were like, they look at me like, what? I said, at that point, we had no idea. But the authenticity of everything we do is we don't front like we do.
Yep.
We don't care that we don't know.
Sure.
The kids actually started. So that episode, we had thousands of views where the kids thought it was funny. Because as adults act like they know
Yep.
everything.
Yeah. It's
You-
okay
you don't
to
wanna
say
be-
I don't know.
Yeah,
and
right.
but the thing is though, is that your kids are seeing this woman doesn't know what she's talking about, but she's asking. She's not making up some BS
No.
and trying to sound smart. She's just asking. And in that, you're demonstrating to kids who are still fairly malleable in their minds
Yeah.
that it's okay to not know as long as you ask. And it's okay not to take yourself too seriously.
And that's what we do. So they were laughing at, they were laughing about it. So they started educating us. Well, this is the person. And then even when we first started covering it, like we didn't know the difference. Like the boys is not called a face off. The girls is called something different.
Draw.
Right. So we didn't know all of
Yeah.
that. And we learned. So after we're doing our show, the kids would inbox us and text and says, no, that's a face. That's a draw miss. That's boys and girls are different. And that's like, and I go on my show, I'm like, I appreciate y'all helping me out. We don't pretend to know something we don't know. We don't front. We're very authentic, and the kids know that. That's how people wonder how you have 25,000 kids under 25. That
That's how
follows
you
this
learn.
platform.
That's how you learn.
But when you start fronting, though, a lot of adults don't
Right,
front.
right.
Like they know what they're talking
Sure.
about. So that's
Well, you don't want to seem vulnerable. Like
Yeah,
I
people
don't.
get
But
like
but the
that.
reality is that's when you're able to develop some of the best relationships.
Oh,
when you're
absolutely.
your real authentic self, and it's okay to be vulnerable because every single one of us are.
You know what? And it was funny because I put a clip up just I think Sunday. I was like my favorite song is "Lovely Day," so I put the clip up and I'm singing because that's like one of my. When I hear that song, it just changes my mood. I put it up there. The kids on Instagram were sharing it so much. We just love you, miss. We prime time. We love you. You're so silly. Because I'm telling them it's okay to be silly, right?
Yeah.
It's okay not to know. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay. We're on this earth for a very short period of time. And you can't take the money with you. You can't take a lot with you, right? There's no ATM behind a hearse, right? So we're trying to teach kids, live your life, be authentic. It's okay to ask for help. Don't make permanent decisions if you're depressed. During your lowest point of your life, because no matter what, the sun will shine tomorrow. That's the message we send, and that's what made us highly popular because we just don't do the BS. And and kids are doing the adoption, like the Thanksgiving adoption. We have more kids doing adoption than adults. Kids will say, I work at Wegmans. I don't get paid until this time. I would like to adopt a family. We have more kids, and kids will go to their parents. You got to adopt. Primetime needs help.
Yeah.
So the kids actually drive the platform, not the adults. The kids are telling their parents, we need to go shopping. You need to go online. You need to sign up because Primetime needs us to adopt a person. So the kids do that, really, not the adults. And we have more kids. Like, we just got 2 kids from Canandaigua yesterday swimming. And they both says, can we both adopt a senior citizen? It's $35 to adopt a senior citizen. I don't get paid till then. I can't deliver. Can I send you the money or a check? Okay, so kids drive this. And that's the most important thing because they learn to give back. And they also learn that sometimes you're born into privilege, right? Like your parents work hard for you to get here. But you know the message I also sent to them? That kids that's born into poverty, they didn't choose to be born into poverty. They didn't choose to be born. They just happen. So that's why everything we do is so driven. The next thing that we do is our coat drive.
Now,
right?
before we go into the coat
Yeah.
drive, if someone wants to donate or not donate, adopt a family, how do they get in contact with you? What do they need to do?
They could do donate and adopt. So they could go right on our website.
Okay.
There's actually a form that you could fill out.
What's your website?
Primetime585.org.
Okay.
All they got to do is go on there and there's a form that says, I want to adopt. Click the button that says you want to adopt. It's like 5 sentences. How many families do you want to adopt? And then we'll actually assign you a family later on this month. So if you go on the website, there's a form that says Thanksgiving adoption. You will just click, I want to adopt. And then you have the choice. If you're going to adopt and shop, then we'll just assign your family. Some people just don't have the capacity.
Yep.
They could donate right online for their adoption, for their family. And you'll even get the name of the family. So if you didn't shop, so then you adopt one family, you'll get the name of the family that you're going to adopt. You could still contact them and say, you know what, you got your delivery. We couldn't do it. And just you could still
Yeah.
You could still talk to your adopted family. So either way, you're gonna know who you adopted.
Yep.
And the family size. So if you're a family of 4 or 5 costs about $75 because we want a turkey,
Yep.
a ham, cranberry sauce, macaroni and cheese. We want things that a good meal.
Yep.
And then we have some large. This year we have 62 families. That's over 7. We have over 600 people. We have over 600 families that signed up, and 62 of them are a family of 7 or more. Because after COVID, you know what we find? Adult children move back in with their parents.
Yeah.
And also we
Yep.
find that people are merging families more. So this is the most we've ever had such large families. Usually we get a family of 3, 4, or 5. This is the first year we've had a lot more. But we're finding when we call them to talk to them, because we go through every family. A lot of it is they merge families after COVID due to whatever circumstances they have.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll put this in the show notes too.
Okay.
If people want to, we'll link to it. Coat drive.
Yes, thank you.
Our
We gotta
coat
bring that
drive
back.
is one of the best things we do.
Because winter here is not warm.
Oh,
And
at all.
no one deserves to your point, Karen. No one was chosen to be born into poverty or in any capacity. But
Oh,
no one deserves to be cold.
Nobody deserves that.
No.
So a lot of the times what we're finding is that, especially kids in the city, especially younger kids, they share coats. Like, how do you share a coat? Like like we had a situation where a girl, her and her sister, they're 1 year apart. One would wear the coat to school, one wore it home. That's where this born out. It was born out of that.
Yeah.
Right? They just didn't have enough a coat because you can't buy that with your food stamps. You can't. So what we decided to do was we adopt schools. So we'll adopt. So right now we adopt school number 8, school number 9, school number 22, school 35, Monroe High School. We adopt those schools. We ask the principals and the parent liaisons to identify the kids. Now, I'm going to tell you what people don't know. There's an act called the McKinney-Vento Homeless Act. The McKinney-Vento Homeless Act is kids that are classified homeless. They're transient. So they'll live with a grandmother for a week. Then next week they're with the aunt. Next week they're in a shelter. Then they're back to the grandmother. So there's no address for the child. The city school district have over 2,000 McKinney-Vento kids. That's a law. The law states that the district have to do everything in their power to educate the child as they're transient. They have to change the buses. If it's weekly, so it's an actual law on the books. So when we go and adopt a school, we specifically ask, we want your McKinney-Vento kids. Because they're either in shelters, they're transient, they only have addresses that are temporary, and you have over 2,000 kids. So when we say we want you to give a coat, they think that we're just giving coats to kids at Jordans and stuff. No, we target the McKinney-Vento kids. So we do coat and we do a toy. We do it the week before Christmas because I don't care what your religious beliefs are. Every kid should wake up with a Christmas gift, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter. We know that it's important to kids, and it messes them up mentally that they couldn't get gifts later on in life, right? We know this.
Yep.
So the goal for the McKinney-Vento kids is we wrap the gifts, we literally wrap them, and we put like the age group on there. So we know what age group it is. Like we know the age group of what the kids, so we get actual teams.
Yep.
So for example, Webster Thomas, they get 100 gifts. The basketball team, the football team, the tennis team, they come in on a Saturday and they wrap the gifts, put a label on the outside so we know what the gifts are. So the kids are doing this, right?
Yep.
So we bring the gifts and the coat to the school. I'm going to tell you all the uniqueness, how dope this is. We don't give the kids the coat. We get suburban teams to bus in to each school, and they are the one that sit with the kids, open up the gifts, fit them in the coats. So you have like a team like HFL. I'll give you an example. So HFL did it last year. They sent in their basketball, boys and girls basketball team and coaches. They came into the city for 2 hours to school number 4. They spent the 2 hours. They interacted with the kids. We played Christmas music. They unwrap the gifts. They put things, if it's things to put together, they put it together. The kids fit the coat. So each player had 2 kids that they would work with. So this player is got these 2 kids. He's fitting the coats for the kids. He's opening up their gifts, putting their toys together with them. And this is going to sound bad, but we have to talk race, right? So most of the kids in the city are black and brown kids. The kids who used to do the delivery of the gifts are generally white kids and white athletes. But when these kids, both sets are together, it doesn't matter. It's the dopest thing. If you want to see something dope, that's the dopest thing I've ever seen. When a kid stood up, kid was in 3rd grade, and looked at Nolan Smith from HFL basketball and football at 6'5". The kid stood up, black kid. I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to play sports like that. The color didn't matter. And it's like a sociology experiment because it shows you, and the kids from HFL, it didn't matter that they were helping little black and brown kids. Sure. The goal is for them when they see, so these kids eventually will be in a boardroom. They're going to be the Wades one day. We got to be practical and real, right? So most kids in the suburbs have an easier path to college. They have more generational wealth. They're the one that's going to be in boardrooms. They're the one that's going to be doing hiring. They're the ones that's going to be doing all of those things. So I want them to interact with little black and brown kids so that they could see, wait a minute, they're just like us. So when they do get into a boardroom 20 years from now, they remember interacting with this kid that didn't look like them. And so that's the goal so I could have just easily just dropped off the coats and the toys. I could do that. The goal is for people to be together. Everything we do is calculated. We bridge communities. And the list of people that want to do this is teams are signing up. Like Canandaigua, Batavia, like all these teams is like, we want to be one of those teams to go in. We only got like 5 spots. And we have about 30 teams that says, can we be the one? Can you select us? We want to do this. Because they kids are not born racist, right? This is learned behavior on both sides. So I want little black and brown kids to see there's some good white people in the world because people are telling them they're not. There's not. And then we want white kids to see black and brown kids. They're just like us. They open toys like us. There's no difference. So for some people, they might not like my strategy, right? Because it's so in your face. People don't like to talk race, just like they don't want to talk mental health. But I'm as real could be. And I tell people all the time, I'm a suburban woman. I'm a suburban mom, right? I live in Penfield, but I understand the plight of the city because we have boots on the ground and know that my kids were born differently because both of their parents are well educated. We're professionals, but not everybody's like that. So we got to help those kind of people understand that, it's important. This is a true story. Went to school 35 yesterday. This is the school that we're adopting. Young lady, 26-year-old, young black female. She's the community liaison there. Sat there and I'm telling her what we do, how we're going to do the adoption. I need for you to give me the sizes, so on and so forth. And I'm talking to her and she's just looking at me the whole time. And after she said, can I talk to you outside for a minute? And she walked me to my car. And she said, I did not know what I want to do with my life. I took some time off of school. I'm doing this thing as a parent liaison. I'm signing up to go back to Brockport today. You inspired me. So I didn't go in there to inspire her. I just go in there and then she texted me last night. She said, I'm doing my FAFSA right now because I walked into that building. So as a black woman that's an engineer, I'm a scientist, I'm an engineer, right? That I'm unapologetically black, right? I don't change my nails. I don't change my hair. I don't change my diction, but I can do that if I have to, right? So I said to people, I'm comfortable in the skin I am. I know I'm well educated. I know if you give me an organic chemistry, PChem, or differential equations, I don't care what color you are, I'm going to mess you up with that because that's my thing, right? But my nails or my hair or my diction does not disqualify how bright I am. And it's okay to be cool and bright. And that's the message, not even just to black girls, to white girls too. So I have more of an effect on white girls than I am on black girls because I get a lot of messages from young, impressionable white girls. And they'll say, well, when you walk into a gym, you're so confident. Because that's a major thing for 13 to 16-year-old young girls, especially in the suburbs.
Yep.
There's some confidence issues, right? And they notice that. I didn't know they noticed that, but I get it I just got one from Brighton last night. Miss, you're so cool. Like, they consider me cool. I'm 50. How am I cool? In what planet, Chuck, am I cool?
I think on this one.
Right? You know what I'm saying? But they look at me, but they still know. Mrs. Glazer, she's an engineer. She's a scientist. I've owned a tutoring company. I've done this. I also give back, but I am unapologetically me, and it's okay to be you. And that's the message that Primetime sends. So I don't leave my house without this, ever. Have you ever seen me without this?
I saw you at Wegmans one morning. I don't know if you had it on there. It was like 6:45 at a Wegmans.
We
I'm
didn't
like,
even
what's up,
recognize
Karen?
each other. You're like, Karen. I'm like, what are you doing here?
You gave me the look and I said who I was. Because, I mean, when I'm in the morning, you've seen me in the morning.
He came in the other day. Your hair.
Yeah, it's just all over the place.
So I'm big on branding. So like when we went to the hospital just now to drop Gerard off, we're walking down the hallway and 3 people, Primetime, the nurse, the anesthesiologist knew the brand.
Yeah.
So I said, well, take good care of him if you're gonna put him under. But branding is a major part of what we do.
Well, we're all people. To go back to we're all people. And I think what the part about confidence, I don't care whether you're in the suburbs of the city or who you are, we've all got that voice inside of us, and sometimes it doesn't say the nicest things.
Right.
And I mean, the hardest thing with depression or anxiety or any one of those things is hiding it so often.
And some
one of the
people do it
hardest
very
things,
well.
and people do it very well. They're
Yeah.
very strong people. We don't often think that, but like, no, they're actually really strong because they're able to hide it, and you have no idea what's going on. But even with things like confidence, I don't care where the kids are. It's a hard thing
It's one of
lots
the
of
things-
times to truly feel
Yeah.
in yourself. And, it's one of those messages, I think, that sports is the unifier. Sports is the sandbox we play in.
Yep.
Right? And there's a lot of life lessons there. So, we have to wrap it up. But Karen, I can't thank you enough for your time today. And more importantly, congratulations. What a day. Gerard's getting a kidney today. By the time this airs, he will have had it. Hopefully he's recovering and everything's going all right. But we just really appreciate it.
Well, guys, thank you so much. And I like the fact that I covered both your schools.
That's
we
right.
cover small schools
Yep.
too.
Yep.
So
That's it.
appreciate you guys for having us. And anybody or everything is on our website, primetime585.org. Thanks,
Got it.
guys.
All right.
One thing that really stuck with me is that there's no ATM that follows the hearse.
It's true.
We can't leave that, but we can leave an impact.
That's the goal. That's the goal. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Wade Brothers, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure are. Hey, this is Wade into Wealth. We'll be back next week. Thanks for sticking with us.